How's it going, NPC Nation? Welcome back to a brand new video. So, this is my thoughts on President Trump picking JD Vance as his running mate. So, people were hating the pick. Let me explain to you why it's a good pick. People say it's a dumb pick. People say this guy's inexperienced. First of all, Trump was too. When Trump ran for president back in 2016, he was inexperienced. And then he became president. First person to never hold political office becomes president. It's weird, isn't it? The JD Vance pick, I want to explain to you why this video is called "Why I Think Trump picking JD Vance is not bad." So why it's not bad is because Trump doesn't need someone that has hated on him. A lot of his vice president picks have hated on him. Marco Rubio, Vivek, Ramaswamy, Clark, Chris, Kristi Noem. A lot of them have probably said bad things about Trump. JD Vance has said a ton of bad things about Trump, and then changes his mind. People are saying that he's just a bootlicker, he's a suck-up. That's why Trump picked him. People don't understand why Trump picked him. Let me tell you why Trump picked him. To get the Midwest. It's going to be hard to sell the Midwest. Ohio, Indiana, already good sales for Trump. Pennsylvania, big state, a swing state. Virginia, Vermont, Rhode Island, Maine, the Midwest, Mideast, the United States. Those states are going to be hard to turn. The South, he got that. I think Trump got that in the bag. But trying to turn Hawaii, trying to turn California is going to be a big, hard to turn state. Probably because he didn't pick someone from the West is because he doesn't need. Yeah, JD Vance is inexperienced. He's only been in the Senate for a year. But my opinion on why JD Vance is a good pick, I've been thinking about this. It was a shocker pick because it's a pick out of nowhere. It's a pick no one knew it was going to happen, but he was on the list. People did not think this was going to happen. It was going to be Ramaswamy or Tim Scott or Marco Rubio or the North Dakota governor. Why I think JD Vance is a great pick. Why I think JD Vance is a great pick for Trump is because I think JD Vance can turn the Midwest. He came from nowhere. He's a working class man. He came from nothing. He's an ex-military guy, so he knows the military. These Mideast states are big military states. Virginia, one of the big military states. Pennsylvania, a big military state. I think JD Vance is a pick not because he's a bootlicker, not because he just wanted to pick someone and get it over with. No. JD Vance is inexperienced. Guess who was inexperienced? Trump. Trump was inexperienced. I don't think JD Vance is a bootlicker. JD Vance, I think, is a good pick for the Mideast. I think JD Vance can turn New York. I think JD Vance, because it's a worker collar state. I think JD Vance can turn Michigan. He's from Ohio. I think he can turn Michigan. I think JD Vance was a pick not because of his inexperience. You could have picked Vivek. Vivek is an outsider. He has no experience. You could have picked Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has experience. Marco Rubio has said some bad things about Trump too. Tim Scott would have been a good pick as well. But I think JD Vance is a better pick because Marco Rubio is from the South. JD Vance and Tim Scott are from the South. I think Trump got those states locked up. The only one I don't see Trump locking up is Georgia. But I think JD Vance can pick Georgia, can switch Georgia. Because Georgia is a worker state. it was Republican. It voted for Trump in 2016 and switched to Biden in 2020. But I think that Trump can flip Georgia back. What Trump is trying to do is get that Midwest and Mideast states. Those are big states, like Wisconsin. The reason the RNC was in Wisconsin this year is because it's a big blue state. There was protests there. I think JD Vance is a good pick for that because he is a workers' collar thing. People say he's a bootlicker, he's done nothing for Ohio, and stuff like that. You can say all those things. You can say he's a bootlicker, all that stuff, but you want someone that came from nothing to flip these Mideast, Midwest states. Especially Michigan. Michigan has not voted Republican in like years. In like 40 years. Or something like that, around there. You have Pennsylvania, which is a big blue state as well, that votes Democrat. I think JD Vance is a good pick. This is why I think JD Vance is a good pick, is because he came from nothing. He is an ex-military man. He needs that. I think Trump needs that. He's not another Pence. People say he's going to backstab him. He's not another Pence. I don't think he's another Pence. I really don't think that he's another Pence. I don't think after 4 years, if Trump wins in November, that JD Vance is going to be another pick. People say that if you're saying that Trump lost your vote, you were going to vote for Trump, and Trump lost your vote for picking JD Vance because he didn't pick your guy. Listen to JD Vance talk first. Listen to JD Vance. See what JD Vance is going to put on the table for Trump. If Trump can flip those blue states, the Mideast and Midwest, those are the states that he wants to flip. The South is on lockdown. Marco Rubio makes no sense for me because the South, it's going to be hard to flip to Democrat. That's why the Democrats don't go and pick people from the South. They pick people from the West. Trump picked someone from the Middle East because those are the states that need flipped. The states surrounding Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky, those states need to be flipped. Michigan has not voted Republican in 40, 50 years, something like that, 50 years. The JD Vance is a perfect pick for that. He didn't pick someone from Indiana or Ohio again because he wanted another Pence. He picked Pence to flip those states, and that's what he did. He needs someone to flip those states. It's not just a money grab, a bootlicker and stuff like that. Not just another face. He picked someone young. First of all, that's what you need, the young demographic. The younger demographic, the millennials that are in their 30s and 40s, and the Gen Z who are in their 20s. But I also think he picked JD Vance is because JD Vance would be a good person, that he's not just a rollover guy, in my opinion. I think JD Vance is the pick because to flip those states that are normally Democrat, those Mideast states. I think he can flip New York. I think JD Vance can flip New York because it's a worker collar state. JD Vance came from nothing, went to the army, and is a worker collar. That's what New York is. It's a worker collar state. Pennsylvania, worker collar. I think Vermont might flip this year too. New York is on the cups of flipping. It will almost be the Republican nominee almost became governor. But if people are hating on JD Vance, just see their first campaign together before you judge and change your vote. If you're deciding you're not going to vote for Trump because of Vivek, Tim Scott, Marco Rubio wasn't picked, Kristi Noem wasn't picked, I think JD Vance is a good pick. He might have said some bad things about Trump. Who hasn't? Politically and not politically. Everyone has. I think JD Vance is the good pick is because those worker collar states. The South, if you pick Marco Rubio, the South will already be on lockdown, minus New Mexico and Arizona. But I think Trump with JD Vance, with the worker collar attitude, can flip those worker collar states from blue to red. Arizona flipped. I think he can flip it back. I think JD Vance is a good pick because he can flip Michigan. He can flip Pennsylvania. He can flip those worker collar states, like I keep saying. He can flip Maine. I think he can flip Maine and New York. Delaware's not going to go anywhere, but Vermont will be a good flip. I think JD Vance can do that. So that is my reasoning. I know I repeated that a lot. He's also young. He's also a worker, man. He's a worker. He says, I'm going to get some hate for this video. I know it. But listen to their speeches together, please. Don't just change your vote from Trump to Biden or third party just because he picked a young guy, an inexperienced guy. Trump was too. Trump was young. Not young, but inexperienced. He was very inexperienced. No political party, no governor, no senate. He went from nothing to businessman. That's the same with JD Vance. Nothing to senator. But JD Vance is, I think, a good pick here. He's going to flip those worker collar states. That's what Trump wants, is to flip those worker collar states. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, press the share button, press the like button, press the red subscribe button, press the bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. Please watch this video entirely and see why I think JD Vance is a good pick. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.